Alrighty then. Hey guys, this is video number 2 here, 2 of 3. All right. So we just talked about the economies, the North versus South. The Northern economy was doing just fine. Obviously, still a little affected by the war, obviously, because war is not free. Right. But we were outproducing the South, and the Southern economy was in shambles. Okay. So in the end of the Civil War, we have the Appomattox Courthouse. All right. Where the heck is the Appomattox Courthouse, and what is Appomattox? Appomattox is just a fun word to say. It's don't actually know the meaning of that word. Actually, I'm just drawing it to your attention because it is fun to say. It's in Virginia, all right? And it happened on April 9th, 1865. This is where General Robert E. Lee from the South, the Confederate States of America, the CSA, surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant of the North. He surrenders. So the terms here, the Confederacy, the CSA dissolves, and the South rejoins the North as one country. Okay. The Confederates were also not charged with treason or imprisonment. So, the history behind this, and it's actually very messed up, and thanks a lot, Lincoln. Lincoln didn't want to punish the South because he was afraid that if we punish them, something like this could happen again. Right. And we see that pattern now. It's a smart pattern. We see that happen in history again. Last year, you guys may remember learning about World War One, right? And how Germany was super punished by World War One, and that treaty, the Treaty of Versailles, is a direct cause of World War Two, an even more destructive event that happened 20 years after the fact. Obviously, Lincoln was unaware of that, but that is a pattern throughout history, right? You punish someone greatly, it's going to be worse the next time it happens. And again, you can connect that to even what's happening today in current events. If you keep punishing somebody, they're going to keep coming back stronger and more angry the next time around, right? To prove a point, to try and change the way things are. It is just a common theme throughout history, and it is a theme here. So Lincoln didn't want to punish the South. Let them back in. He could have very easily charged them with treason, which is, again, remember, the highest crime you can commit on a federal level. That is when you go against your own country. Right, so all these people waving Confederate flags are literally waving treason flags. So next time you see a Confederate flag, just know it represents treason. But anyway, I'm biased. I'm from the North. It's kind of a fun-ish fact about this. General Robert E. Lee showed up looking professional in his Sunday best. His uniform was all ironed, tucked in. He looked like a gentleman. Ulysses S. Grant showed up looking like a hungover hot mess, probably because remember, Grant was an alcoholic. Okay, so he showed up all messy, clothes wrinkled, nothing tucked in, and just kind of looking bothered to be there. So it's kind of funny in a way. Thanks a lot, Grant, for representing the North. But anyway, just here's a painting of it that happened, that went down, right? Here is Robert E. Lee in gray. Remember, the Confederates wore gray. And here is Grant over here. The picture does not do it justice on what it looks like in real life. Now, from there, people, all right, we have the assassination of Lincoln, the very first president to ever be assassinated. R.I.P. Abe. Anyway, this happened on April 14th, 1865. What had happened was him and his wife, the First Lady, Mary Todd Lincoln, who was clinically insane. I highly recommend looking her up on your free time. She was cuckoo. Anyway, they went to the Ford's Theater, which is in Washington, D.C., to see a play. Oh, God, My American Cousin, I believe, is the name of the play they saw. Not like that means anything to either one of us, but hey. What had happened was John Wilkes Booth, the guy from the South, came into the presidential booth. Don't ask me where his guards were. That was part of a mass conspiracy theory, BT dubs. John Wilkes Booth, an actor from the South, came in, shot Lincoln in the back of the head, jumped down onto the stage, broke his leg because that was a pretty high up jump. Sic semper tyrannis is what he yelled, and then ran away, which that means, I'm pretty sure, like, long live the tyrants or death. Anyway, right, terrible, absolutely terrible. He ran away. John Wilkes Booth did. Lincoln, shot in the back of the head, was dragged across the street to a house, and that is where he died the next day on April 15th, 1865. Eventually, Booth and all of the co-conspirators were caught, and they were all hanged on April 26th, 1865. So it didn't take them very long. It took them 11 days to find them and to kill them. as I said, Lincoln was the very first president to be assassinated, and unfortunately, he wasn't the last. You'll learn more about those next year in your history class, though. What this represented, the South did this because they hated Lincoln. They were forced to rejoin the Union, which you would think they'd be thankful that Lincoln was very kind to them and not charging them with treason or making them pay an obscene amount of money. But the South was still very upset, right? The South will rise again type people. This scene is actually pretty decently acted out in the movie National Treasure 2. And that one might be on Netflix. I don't think it is. I highly recommend watching it. Again, I probably would have shown it to you had we been in school, but I digress. National Treasure 2, guys, it's a bop. Anyway, Andrew Johnson becomes the next president because he was vice president. Fun fact about Andrew Johnson, really quick, because I'm not going to go into too much detail about him. He sucked and is considered to be one of the worst presidents in U.S. history. Anyway, without further ado, right, here are some pictures of it that's happening. Here's a real photo of Lincoln here before he got his beard and his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln. Again, girl was cray-cray. Pictured right here is John Wilkes Booth. And here is an actual picture of all of the co-conspirators, including Booth, being hanged. Right before they were being hanged. Mary Surratt became the very first woman to ever be killed by the government in the United States. She was a co-conspirator. So, kind of an interesting story, but I will go into more detail on my next few slides. Thanks, guys.